Hello everyone, this is Troy Kilpatrick, the Executive Director for the Journey Museum and Learning Center in Rapid City, South Dakota. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Black Hills Journeys.
Today's episode is a ghost journey. History is filled with legends and lore of haunted places and spaces throughout the Black Hills. And so today we're going to take a look at, are these for real or is this a whole bunch of nothing? We're going to work with Black Hills Paranormal Investigators to look at the science of the paranormal and do an investigation of our very own right here at the Journey Museum and Learning Center. So come join us
on a Black Hills journey, a ghost journey.
Yeah, I thought, it'd be kind of cool to run around and see what goes bump in the night. It started out as kind of a hobby, but the more and more I started getting involved in the investigations and started to kind of dig, it's now kind of turned into a passion for me. Not soon after I had started, Mo had come onto the team. And then, like I said, I've been on the team since 2008 and have been investigating all sorts of different places around the hills. And the team has just kind of evolved over time.
Black Hills Paranormal Investigations as a group has been around, 13 years now. It's awesome. And like he's also said, we as a team, we've evolved over the years too. Some of us are believers, some are diehard skeptics, some are in the middle. And I think that adds to the strength of our team because once we investigate a place, we come together and then we decide, any kind of captures that we have, are they legitimate? And it's kind of like watching C-SPAN. We're arguing and carrying on and doing everything but hitting people in the face. It's awesome.
Well, the first time he said something about investigating, and I'm like, investigate what? What are you talking about? And he said he was looking for ghosts, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. So then he started bringing recordings, and he's like, you gotta listen to this one. So I got to kind of just be part of the team without actually getting to go to the investigations, and then they had an opening, and he said, do you want to try this? And I was like, I do. So I jumped on the team. We have all this technology that we're bringing into our investigations because we want to help the client. I mean, ultimately, that's our goal, is to help them so that, like you said, we can let them know they're not crazy. There is something. Now, whether it's the dryer that makes an extra noise or whether it's something else that's out there that's trying to communicate with somebody, at least we can give them something.
And then I've had plenty of experiences throughout my lifetime. 1999, I had a really bad experience with something not so nice. And way back then, nothing was on TV, didn't talk about that stuff. So I started reading books, and then I bought a camcorder and did my own investigation. Then I really got scared. And then I got a hold of an author out of 3 of the books that I read. And he contacted a group, it was all mediums in Minnesota. And they came out, and it took them a couple of times, but they finally got it to go. And I was so grateful that I volunteered whatever they wanted me to do, and then they asked me if I would be interested in joining the group. So I worked with them from 2000 to 2008. And then I think I joined this group in 2010.
It was maybe about 3 years ago. I was working with a client who had a reported haunting in her house, and I didn't know this ahead of time, but when I went to her home to do some readings for her, I discovered that she had some ghosts in her home. Well, I was able to help her with this, but I did reach out to the paranormal team because I thought, if the two of us could work together, I could be a resource for them when there was a need for it. And I reached out to them, and surprisingly, they responded. And I was under scrutiny, but they said, sure, let's give it a try. And we actually did a walkthrough, which is where I will walk through a location and pick up information about the home, things that have maybe been going on. And I didn't know that they were testing me, but they were. And I apparently passed the test and was a credible psychic medium, I guess. So that's how our relationship was born. And I just feel like I bring another tool, I guess, to the team where I can sense things and know if there's going to be spirit activity. Sometimes I can tell them where to place the equipment because I know where it will be active, or I can sense the spirits that are in the home, why they're there. And it's just kind of a good relationship, I think. We have a great working relationship.
We're just a big family, and you know, we're just brothers and sisters, and we just give each other just the razz each other just unmercilessly. And Danny jumped right in, and she started picking on Mark and Scott and Mo, and we were just all there. It was like, oh, she's the one.
And what makes us different from the things you see on the TV is, you know, a lot of the stuff on the TV is evil and demons and all this crazy stuff. It makes for great entertainment. But we haven't really ran across that yet, ever, on any investigation we've ever been on. There's nothing I would say that was like inherently evil or demonic, nor do we ask. Like you watch some of the stuff on the TV and they'll go, oh, hey, are you a demon? We don't do that because we don't know. You don't know what's out there. And if they're, you know, and I'm thinking, and this is just my own personal opinion, but if you were a demon, are you going to admit it? I mean, really, I wouldn't do it. It'd be more fun just like, shh, let's scare the you-know-what out of them kind of thing.
I think it was at a house in Leader, Deadwood, where we had an older gentleman who had passed, so the wife's husband had passed, and this one just sticks with me. We have a piece of equipment. What is it actually called?
A paranormal music box is what it's called.
Paranormal music box.
A PMB.
And if something disrupts the camera array or the sensor, it turns itself on. It started to play in this bedroom while we were talking, asking if this gentleman was there, and it would not stop playing. When we actually asked him to turn it off, and he did, and to turn it back on, and he did. Blew my mind.
It's the first time I had followed Danny in through a walkthrough. And we were walking up the stairs, and I'm a little sensitive, but nothing near like Danny. And so we were walking upstairs, and I had my tape recorder on, and I was drawn to the far left room in the corner. And she was too. There's a room next to it and that one. So she goes in the middle room and I go to the end. And I felt like there was somebody in the corner there. And so I said, is there anybody in here? And it wasn't until I got home later that evening that I played my tape recorder. And you could hear me ask this question. And it was a deep male voice that said, I'm here. Oh, I'm over here in the corner. So that was kind of cool.
But I am here to tell you, the brothels just blew me away with the amount of activity. We had gotten up there, and I had taken the tour with another guy. So I had told everybody, you guys go on the tour, and I will go out and start taking an EMF sweeps and stuff like that. And all of a sudden my EMF meter just kind of spikes, and then I get this whiff of perfume. As quick as it came on, it's gone. So here, like an idiot, I'm sniffing the air and walking around. I'm checking all the outlets, all the electrical up there, nothing. Everything was zero. I walk out into the hallway thinking, okay, maybe it came out into the hallway. And as I kind of step up and I stop kind of in the middle and I start getting some more EMF readings that were spiking, almost as if there was a figure standing right in front of me. And then all of a sudden, I hear, clear as day, footsteps, boot steps. heel toe, walking down the hallway. Hello, I'm thinking maybe it's somebody from the group had walked back and was just walking through. I call out, hello, hello, nobody. So I run down to the intersection. I look down the hallway, I see nothing. I go in all the rooms, nothing. And so I'm telling my story, and one of the guys that were up there was one of the custodians for the place. And when I was telling the story, his eyeballs get about this big, like, oh my God, he says, I've smelt and experienced the same thing before. He says, but I've just never told anybody that.
Oh yeah, that's going to be so much fun. And once it is. And the one room in there looks like something from Hellraisers with all the chains and all the boiler room or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. I mean, for fun stuff. But actually, I didn't expect a lot, but we came away with more than I expected. The neat thing about the Opera House, historically speaking, it was basically a spillover hospital during the Spanish flu epidemic. So a lot of the stuff that goes on there, we don't, could it be from there, or could it be just people that hung out there, kind of thing. We were downstairs and we had the FLIR because Peggy caught. If you've ever been down there, you know that the pool. You're in the pool basically, and the pool, of course, how it goes up, and where the shallow end, there's nothing anymore. Josh, who was on our team, walked up to where it started, where the slope stopped, and we heard something come down the pool, and I thought it was tile or something coming off the ceiling. It had just fallen. Was that you, Josh? No. Because then Josh like, oh, it hit me, and I was like, wait a minute, we're looking up. Well, it's corrugated tin. There's nothing up there. And so I found a little chunk, I don't know what it was, and I threw it back up there like, you want to have a rock fight? And threw it, and then as you see in the video, something came back, which not cool. So I pulled my hoodie on my head because that's going to protect me, of course.
What in the hell did that? What the heck was it that did that? I mean, we searched and searched, and me being the skeptic, I'm thinking, okay, something had to fall off of the ceiling, and like Mo said, it's all that corrugated tin. There is no loose rocks. There is no loose tiles. There's nothing but tin. So there's nothing to fall. So it's like, what threw that thing then?
And we actually got a figure that you see walk, and it just disappears into a wall. And we got that with a FLIR, which is a forward-looking infrared radar, and it maps heat signatures, basically. That's what keeps us doing what we do, because things like that happen, and there's no rational explanation for that.
But I believe that the spirit realm kind of coexists with where we are. And so even just coming into a space like this and thinking about the energies that might be here will bring them close.
Yeah, it's been a passion. I've had plenty of experiences, so I'm a total believer.
I want to be the believer that's just, I'm all in, but my skeptic side jumps in. But I'll tell you what, I'm like a dog with a bone. If there's something on that recording that I think is something, I'm on it. I'll argue till the dogs start howling, because I'm just like, no, it is, that's what it is. And so yeah, I'm a skeptic believer at the same time. I'm both. I really play both sides.
I'm kind of like Leanna. A lot of times stuff you might capture something and you're like, I don't know. I don't know. If it's something that's worthwhile, if it's not worthwhile. But like I said also, and it kind of, all I'm doing is talking in circles, but I have learned there is something beyond our level of understanding. Now what it is, we really don't know yet. So I guess I'm riding the fence. I kind of believe, and I kind of don't. I guess it's situational, on what's going on, if that makes any sense.
Do I believe what some of the claims people are telling us? Well, yeah, I believe that they believe it. And I guess our whole thing is, because we're all pretty much the same, we don't go into a location trying to prove that there's a ghost or there's a haunting taking place.
That's a great point.
And, we're going in to find reasonable explanation for what it is that's going on. It's kind of hard sometimes when you sit there and you talk to the client before you go in, and they tell you about all this crazy stuff that's going on, and then you go in trying to keep an open mind and stuff. But I think if you keep a level head, you keep that certain amount of skepticism, and always looking for the reasonable explanation. Cool thing is whatever you find over and above that is just extra gravy for the biscuits.
I'm thinking this place, it might be a place of interest for a couple reasons. There are some people that believe the spirits or what have you can attach themselves to certain items. Like your grandfather had a favorite chair, or your grandma or great-grandma loved this particular china set or this fur coat. Is there some remnant of them? Is it some of their energy still there with that because they were so attached to that particular item? And being this is a museum and you guys do have a lot of old artifacts, is there something to that? And this would give us a chance to check that out.
I think what would be interesting is to hear the stories from people who've worked here over the years. Was it they were influenced by stories that they've heard their coworkers talking about, and they happen to be in here late at night by themselves, or being the only one in here locking up, or whatever the case may be, and they're letting their imagination start running wild with them. Big spaces like this tend to have some really weird, crazy sounds at night.
Well, we're going to show up and talk bad about each other like we normally do.
Yeah, that's a must.
And this place is big. So normally what we do is we'll get to a location and we'll do a walkthrough with Danny Jo. She'll say whatever kind of, tell us whatever kind of feelings and whatnot she has. And somebody's going to be running behind her with a little camera, a little handheld, so we can get, if something happens, we've got it on camera. But normally we do an EMF sweep with our equipment, find out where the high EMF, right. But to find where the high EMFs are, and then we'll pick it. We're going to pick an area where we're going to set up our command central, for lack of better terms. That's where we're going to put out all the, lay out all our equipment and stuff. Then we're going to determine, after we talk to Troy, and then where the hot spots are. And then we're going to send a couple investigators to that hot spot and a couple to this one, kind of thing. And more than likely, one of us will hang back at Command Central and kind of monitor everything. And then like an hour or so, then everybody starts to switch.
So I anticipate quite a bit of energy this evening. I would assume that we are going to have some evidence and EVPs just by the feelings that I get here. I still have pain in my chest currently. And a lot of these exhibits, the artifacts, the things that are here hold energy, and those energies can still be felt for years and years to come. So it definitely makes it heavy in here for me. It's almost kind of like walking through thick air, which is feels like humidity for me. And so I anticipate quite a bit of activity, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so the Rapid City Journal is currently working on a series for Halloween. We're very interested in looking into the paranormal investigation that's happening at the Journey Museum, and along with a few other things that we're hoping to release around the October 31st date. I was very excited when I heard about the paranormal investigation. I thought it was really cool. I am pretty skeptical about these kinds of things. I believe that there are things that are unexplained in our world. Not really sure what to make of them, but I'm definitely interested to find out and see what Black Hills Paranormal Investigation does.